Hello everyone, to the fourth and final time we meet here with Kelly to talk about the USMCA. Now, we can feel it already. It's almost 1 July. There's only a few more nights to go and it's gonna happen. Oh my Lord. This is the final part. We have met 3 times already and now we're meeting for the final time to talk about USMCA. And today's topic is going to be all about the practical stuff, the things that importers, exporters, filers need to know and to do practically in order to apply USMCA correctly from the 1st of July 2020. Now, I know we're approaching the entry into force, and if you haven't done that already, everything that's Kelly going to talk about, that might be a bit of a, you might have to speed it up a little, but we're here to support you if you need a helping hand. Kelly is a great person, a great go-to person to do that. She's a licensed customs broker and an attorney by profession, and she supports clients around the US with the implementation of USMCA and knows about complex rules of origin as well. Besides that, she has an amazing blog. And Kelly, why don't you tell us quickly about your blog?
Sure. So the podcast is Women in Trade, and it's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Podcasts, but it focuses on the international trade career path, and it sheds a light on the women who are in international trade leadership positions and kind of explaining how they got to where they are today. And the idea was to be able to express to future trade compliance professionals all of the variety of career paths that would exist in the field.
And I can't wait to listen to the new edition coming out shortly. I've listened to the ones in the past and they're really, really good and insightful.
Thanks.
So with that in mind, I'd like to welcome you too. My name is Arnie. We hopefully have met before now in the previous editions. I'm behind Customs Manager, and in Customs Manager, we want to empower customs managers and global trade professionals worldwide, and we want to strengthen our great and fantastic profession by creating up-to-date, well-trained, and well-supported customs managers and global trade professionals. And we do this with professional legislative monitoring, education, and of course support. So let's get ready to grow our business effectively, efficiently, and of course compliantly. All right, on to our topic: how can companies prepare? Couple of questions for you, Kelly. Then you tell us what changes do companies practically need to make in order to be USMCA ready for 1 July?
Sure. So the first point would be whether USMCA actually affects your shipments, because if you have small dollar shipments, you might not actually be affected by any of these regulations. And what I mean by that is small dollar shipments, about $50 or so. It differs between the 3 countries. You actually don't have tax applied to those shipments. So those numbers have changed. So you want to double check whether your shipments fall under that requirement or non-requirement, I suppose. But then also there is an increase in the this threshold for informal entries. So in this case, what used to require a formal entry with a broker at the border under NAFTA, for USMCA, that dollar value has increased. And so there might be more shipments that maybe wouldn't require that formal shipment, which is good news, because then there's fewer broker fees and maybe make it a little bit easier to take advantage of USMCA. So just double check the value of your shipments and whether you have these requirements. But also, if you are subject to USMCA, or you can take advantage of USMCA, you'll have to re-qualify your goods, because the products and the qualifications done under NAFTA will no longer apply. The certificate the NAFTA certificate doesn't apply, but also if the rules have changed, you need to reapply those rules, reanalyze your products. And I know it's kind of getting late in the game now, but to do that, you would also need to possibly go to your suppliers and get their information. So there is a lot of work to do if you need to requalify your goods, but the good news is that USMCA does allow for you to claim the duty-free preference or the reduced duty preference after the shipment. So you can go back and say, oh, we forgot. As long as you have the certificate, we can go ahead and claim it later. But the one thing caveat with that one is that you will have to pay this fee called merchandise processing fee. So that's just a little bit different with NAFTA. So there is, if you miss it on the front end, you can go back and make changes, but there might be an additional small percentage fee to do so that you won't be able to get back. In order to make all of this work, the final thing that companies will need to do is to communicate with their brokers on how and whether they have all the information they need to actually make the claim under USMCA. So you can prep all the information you want, but if your broker doesn't actually make the claim, you're not going to recognize that duty savings.
Okay, so just to summarize, I've got this right. The three things you suggest company to do is check the de minimis, the minimum threshold, to see if you actually have to apply the rules. 2, possibly requalify the goods with the new rules of origin. And 3, discuss with brokers to ensure that you can claim, right? 3 things.
So yes, okay. To make sure that the claim is made at the time of entry.
Okay, good, very clear. 3 things, I like that. I can deal with 3 things. Okay, so the second question I would have, right, so we know now what we need to do. There is always a little bit of worry, I suppose, as to how you make these claims and you're pretty sure that you applied the rules of origin correctly. But then there's always this in the back of your mind, what do you do when the authorities come knocking on your door on Monday morning and would like to see proof? So you will be subject to an audit, you'll be subject to all of that good stuff. So I guess my question is fundamentally about compliance, and what would you recommend are the steps that companies can take now to ensure continued compliance with USMCA rules?
Yes, so making the transition from NAFTA to USMCA, there is a lot that needs to be taken into account because we'll have some overlap between NAFTA and USMCA as far as record keeping is concerned. So I just wanted to stress to companies that you still have to keep your documentation under NAFTA for the allotted time, but now you need to keep your documentation under USMCA as well. So some of the companies that I've been working with, they will have 2 analyses, one under NAFTA, one under USMCA, in their systems for the next few years, just to prove that the NAFTA claims and the USMCA claims are both proper. So to ensure continued compliance, you need to make sure that those claims are actually proper, you've applied the rule of origin correctly, you have all of the necessary documentation to prove that you applied the rules correctly, but then also you need to keep that documentation in case of an audit. And under USMCA, the audit regulations have changed a bit more to be more expeditious and to be more forward and more communicative with the manufacturers and the users of the agreement. So they've outlined a few more procedures about how to audit, how they will notify companies that will be audited, and so in my opinion that seems like they will put a more focus on auditing. And so companies that are going to be using the USMCA for the first time definitely need to be aware of that. And then companies who are transitioning from NAFTA to USMCA, just be aware of the differences in the record keeping requirements and the difference of notification by the auditing party. So instead of the process under NAFTA, you'll have a different type of notification under USMCA.
Okay, cool, great. Sounds logical. It's fine for me. So, summarize. Ensure the claim is proper, I guess. Ensure record keeping requirements are met now under USMCA, and then get ready, I guess, for an audit by making sure you've got all the documents right at your fingertips.
Right. This whole career, this whole industry is around being able to defend against an audit. You want to make sure that you're compliant, right? You're compliant with the rules. And the point of doing that is so that when questions get asked, you can easily answer them.
Perfect. Sounds good. Now, Kelly, switching gears slightly, we've been meeting for the last couple of weeks. How have you experienced our talks? Because we're coming to an end. This is the final one. How did you experience interacting in this way?
It's been great. Yes, exciting to talk about the USMCA, and it'll be even more exciting to see it in force and to make sure that all of our clients are using it properly and answering any questions that they might have. So it'll be interesting. July 1.
Yeah, and speaking of July 1, we've got something exciting planned, right?
Yes. Us trade nerds would like to have a celebration of this new event and have a party, right?
Yes. So it's the USMCA launch party, and you can join us on the 1st of July, and the details will be in the description below. And and we're not going to be alone, aren't we, Kelly? We've got to be joined by people.
Right. There's a lot of experts out there on USMCA, and my perspective has been strictly US based. So why don't we bring in other perspectives and get a broader understanding of how the agreement was.
I'd love to know what the Canadians and the Mexicans think. And also, do you know why we are here talking about the USMCA, what the actual operators think, what the practitioners think, what the enterprises, the businesses think. I'd love to hear that. So all of that is going to come your way on the 1st of July. And please make sure you join us for a live session we're going to do. And we're going to record that, of course, as well. So we're going to celebrate the entry to force of USMCA in the proper way, virtually, and with virtual balloons and everything you can imagine, and guest stars. So it's going to be exciting. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you've got to do so. Because that makes sure you are not missing any notifications. So hit that notification button too. Then subscribe to Kelly's podcast, of course. And before we let you go, there's a mini disclaimer that Kelly wants to say, and I'm gonna give her the final words to end our 4 sessions with USMCA.
Great. Yep. The disclaimer is simply to diversify where you get your facts from and make sure that everyone that you're getting your information from is well versed and educated, but also educate yourself with different sources.
Fantastic. And with that, Kelly, I'd like to thank you. That was an amazing time. I learned so much, and it was really great to talk to you and listen to you and be inspired by all the details. I'll see you on the 1st of July, so not long to go. And we'll see all of you, in fact, for that massive celebration, our nerd celebration, if you want. So, Kelly, thank you so much. Bye-bye. And I'll see you on the 1st of July.
Great. See you then.